I was real excited when Round 2 announced that they were going to be doing a re-release of AMT's Starship Reliant kit, because as far as I'm aware, that kit has not been re-released for several decades, probably since the late 80s at the latest. And not only that, they were going to be doing some retooling of it. I'm not quite familiar. I never owned an original version of the kit, so I don't know quite what the retooling they did of it is. There's not a lot of reviews of it that I've been able to find that have really gone into any detail about the differences between the two kits. But I believe it has mostly to do with the height of the saucer sidewalls, and the bridge dome, I believe, has been modified. The original versions of the kit were simpler, not as detailed, and the new version supposedly rectifies a lot of those errors. In addition, Round 2 also released as a separate option, much to my great annoyance, and especially to the annoyance of my wallet, a set of decals. These were not included with the kit when you buy it. No, the only decals that you get with the kit are this, which is probably exactly what you got with the original version. All you have is just the ship's name, the registry, some pinstriping, and some Starfleet pennants, and that's it. Whereas the extra set contains a complete set of Aztecing decals. But it's not cheap. The kit itself, I don't remember exactly what I paid for it. I think I bought it maybe 6 months ago, and it was probably around $40, $45. The decal set, $38.50. Yeah, almost as much as the kit itself. But there's a lot of decals in here, and they're pretty cool. So let's take a look at the kit itself, and then we'll move on to the decal set and see what we got. I'm actually surprised at the size of the box. I can barely get the whole thing in frame. Box is dominated by this really attractive looking photo, this retouched photo of the completed model. It's the same basic style as all of Round 2's reissues. This kit, as you can see, is in 1/537th scale, which is the same scale as the old AMT Enterprise refit, which was released originally for the first movie and was then reissued for each subsequent movie, and probably hasn't seen reissue now for close to 20 years. I've owned a couple of those kits, and it really shows its age, so let's hoping that this one's a little bit more modern, what with the retooling that was done. Box back, again, same as with all of Round 2's reissues, has some historical information about the ship itself. This time mostly talking about Khan, and a little information about the movie. Not so much about the ship itself, but you got a nice big photo of the model, plus a second one on the stand, plus several co-cells. You've got your this I believe would be the 1000th scale, since it says snap fit. The Enterprise B, Enterprise D, and Klingon Bird of Prey, plus co-cells for the decal set. As I showed briefly, the decal set that comes with it is very basic. You've just got your ship name, registries, some pinstriping, some Starfleet pennants, and that's really about it. They really went pretty bare bones on this decal sheet, probably to entice the builder to buy the aftermarket set. Instructions are the same type as everything else, just a large one-page fold-out, assembly instructions on one side, painting and decal application instructions on the other. First up for parts, we've got the bridge dome, the lower sensor dome, fore and aft torpedo launchers, intake vents for the warp nacelles. I believe these are the roll bar pylon phaser cannons, and the upper part of the roll bar torpedo launcher. Next up, we've got the display stand, which is the standard type that Round 2 has been including with most of their reissues. It has a ball joint on the top, so you can display the ship at various attitudes, or you can simply take the entire thing off and have it displayed on the fixed metal rod. The upper hull is actually quite large, nicely molded. An interesting thing I recall from building the original Enterprise model from the movies is that it had what I guess they tried to pass off as an Aztec marking scheme molded right into the surface. That was not originally part of the tooling for that ship. It was added for the reissue for the Wrath of Khan. So I always assumed that that the Reliant had that same molding to it as well, but in this case, at least, it does not. So I don't know if that was part of Round 2's the retooling that they did to eliminate those Aztec lines, or if it was never part of the surface at all. But otherwise, the detail looks really, really nice. Etching of the grid lines on the saucer is generally fairly good. Bridge dome appears to be the right shape. I've got some nice molded detail in the mechanical trench areas, and elsewhere the detail just looks to be accurate. Saucer underside likewise looks to be as accurate as the top side. You got all your grid lines nicely etched. You got cargo bay doors and airlock doors molded in place that look appropriate. Lots of molded detail on the aft section. One of the modifications they made to the tooling was to add the hole here for the display stand. You can see there's the top portion of the socket, which simply plugs directly into it. Piece of cake. I believe otherwise the major modification that was made was to the sidewalls of the saucer, which were never the correct height, as well as the sidewalls on the aft portion, which would have been corrected to match. Otherwise, it looks, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not an expert on the Reliant or the Miranda class to which it belongs, but it looks correct. It'd be easy to drill out the windows on most of the lower saucer, should you wish to. But curiously, there's none molded into the saucer perimeter. Otherwise, it looks good. Next up, we've got the warp nacelles, left and right halves, obviously, for each one. Each one having slightly different grills on the inside surfaces. These ones are, to my knowledge, based on the molds for the early Starship Enterprise kit from AMT. So they're not exactly the right shape relative to say the Polar Lights kit from several years ago in 3/50th scale. So they're not exactly accurate, but they actually look very very correct to me compared to my old original Enterprise kit, which the front ends of the nacelles on that kit were particularly flawed. They were very bulbous, and these actually look much more correct. In fact, this plastic has a really high gloss to it. I don't know if you can see that. So you get the really high gloss reflection off of my light here. But they look nice, as accurate, I guess, as they could possibly make them using the original toolings. Last up for the opaque parts, we've actually got quite a lot of flash on this runner. But I'm not noticing any on any of the parts themselves, which is nice. So we've got the warp nacelle pylons, the roll bar This would be, I believe, the lower portion of the roll. This here would be the lower portion of the roll bar and upper portion of the spars, and of course the impulse engine and escape pod deck. Like I said, a little bit of well, actually quite a lot of flash on the runner, but the parts appear to be very clean. Otherwise, everything looks great. Molding looks very good. And finally, we've got our clear parts. This would appear to be a lower sensor platform clear part. I don't know if all of this is duplicated from the original AMT kit, or if this was added for the new version, because I know that my classic Enterprise kit, which the saucer bottom is very similar, has a very similar sensor platform, does not have this clear part. But otherwise, everything else looks really, really nice. You got some clear lenses for, I believe, that flank the escape pod hatches. I believe these would actually be the escape pod hatch doors. I don't know why they're molded in clear, but whatever. And then the impulse engine deflection crystals, I believe they're called, and the actual impulse engine exhaust ports. And finally, we've just got some documentation inside the box. We've got a flyer for a newsletter and a little catalog of some of Round 2's other kits. And that's about it for the model. So to start off with, we've got a whole separate instruction sheet, which is the exact same size as the one that comes with the kit, indicating where every single decal on the upper surface of the model goes. The other side likewise has the ventral side of the ship, as well as the roll bar and lower sensor platform and port side of the ship. Now, I'm not doing these in any particular order, just the order that they come up in just out of the packaging. This one, it looks like mostly parts or decals for the, we got some windows. I believe these are the saucer perimeter windows. These might be for the, on the aft portion of the saucer, and then the rest, I think, might be Aztecing for the nacelles. They're each protected by a sheet of protective paper as well, so no risk of damaging them in shipping. This looks like probably saucer top decals. You've also got decals for the thruster blocks. It also includes registration numbers for at least one other ship, the USS Saratoga, which I believe, with this registry number, is supposed to be the ship that Captain Sisko served on as first officer during the Borg invasion, the attack at Wolf 359, the Saratoga, which was destroyed. There was another Miranda-class Saratoga that was seen in Star Trek IV, but this registry number would be far too high for it to be that ship. More Aztecing for the saucer section. I guess this would be the ventral side of the saucer. I don't know what these gray trim on the outside is for. But it's nice, though, that it's not just straight gray and white. There's extra blocks of additional color here and there. And last up, we've got the saucer perimeter sensor strips, marking or decals for the escape hatches. I believe these would be forward of the mechanical block areas on the aft portion of the saucer. This would be, I believe, the trim that fits underneath the bridge dome. Everything else, hard to say. These look like they're probably for the roll bar support arms. Everything else, like I said, hard to say, but it's all molded, or all printed very, very nicely. Some of them are very, very big. This one in particular is like 3 inches wide by 3 inches. But yeah, some of them are very, very big, so they're going to be tricky to place, but should be fun to work with. So a couple of years ago, when I first started making videos on YouTube, I kind of set myself a goal. I wanted to build all the different starships named Enterprise. It's a goal that still hasn't been completed. The only one I've got to do yet is the Enterprise C, and I do have the kit. And I'm glad that they reissued it, but I'm actually really, really glad that they reissued the Reliant. Now, I'm going to raise some hackles here, I think, when I say that I'm a Star Trek fan, but Star Trek II is not my favorite Trek movie. It's definitely my second favorite. My actual favorite is Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. That was the first one I ever saw in a theater, so it has some real emotional resonance for me. But Trek II is definitely a fantastic movie, and to finally be able to build a model of the ship that Khan captured is going to be very, very exciting. And I think Round 2 really did a nice job updating this kit. And here's hoping that I can do it justice. In the meantime, though, these are gonna end up hanging out in my stash for a while. Now that I've finished off my DBS, I've really wanted to get going on my P51, and that is going to be my next project. Can't say for sure if I'm going to get started on it right away. I want to within the next day or so, but I don't know if you can tell from the sound of my voice, but I've been fighting a pretty nasty head cold and cough for the last few days, and I don't really want to get started on a new project until it's gone away. So yeah, it's probably going to be a day or so before I really crack that sucker open and get working. But for now, I guess that's all there is to say. So thanks everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.